continuing entertainment. They say music hath charm, and our first guest today certainly lends support to that adage. A vocalist with few peers, she has been pleasing audiences in nightclubs, on records, etc., for a long time now. A queen among songstresses, she is the inimitable Morgana King. Also joining us this day are two of the performers who are contributing to the successful run of Cats at the Schubert Theater. I referred to Kathleen Lamb and Lance Roberts. Lamb and Lance, they should make good shish kebab together. Take a backseat, Coca-Cola. These two have the pause that entertain. And now, serving as the catalyst for today's interview is your man of the half hour, Skip E. Lowe.
Morgana, tell me something, really. Yeah. You know, you're truly an entertainer's performer. You know, you're a performer, a very special performer. I discovered you, at the Bonsoir in the Village years ago. What years?
1958.
58, really?
Me, Kay Ballard, Tony and Eddie.
Felicia Saunders?
Felicia Saunders, Larry Storch.
Did Larry work there?
Phyllis Diller.
And Barbara Streisand.
Streisand, oh yes.
She used to double from getting it wholesale. Remember? Tell me about those days. Really?
They were marvelous. You know, we were all kids aspiring to be something in a business that's very attractive, you know.
But cabaret, today the cabaret is not the same as the 50s.
Oh no, it's entirely different.
Why?
I was just telling my daughter that if I had to do the things I did when I first started, I started in 1946. This is my 40th year. And I'm still in cabarets. But this morning I heard an interview about Mr. Sinatra, and they said, well, you know, he is a saloon singer. There's a certain quality that makes a saloon singer. You know, you have to combat so much when you work I call them the pits,
yes.
the upholstered sewers, whatever.
That's what I used to call them, too.
Well, you know what I mean. It's not really derogatory, but it's our way of putting ourselves on. But, you know, you work with such terrible conditions. You're in a room full of smoke. You're working hours that are kind of unnatural, doing, you know, shows at like 9 and then midnight.
To 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometime 2 in the morning.
And then who sleeps during the day? I don't know anyone who really sleeps during the day. I mean, you hear all kinds of sounds and the light comes in, you know, so you're really in an exhausted situation. But I used to work in Lodi, New Jersey until 5 in the morning. I'd start at 9, take the bus at the Port Authority. But when you're a kid, you do all those things, right?
But that's show business.
And here I am still doing it, but of course a little better.
But that was show business in those days. So. Because I started in those days too, in the 40s, in the late 40s and the 50s, in Chicago, Illinois. And I worked strip joints.
I did too. I worked
strip joints on Clark Street. And I emceed them until 4 in the morning. They
you know Zarita?
8 o'clock to 4. Yes, very well.
Well,
the Snake Act.
No, she did other things. They took the snakes away from her, you know.
Right.
But when I worked with Zarita, we became like a lifelong friendship. I still talk to her. She lives in Florida. And whenever she would work in New York, she'd say, call that kid, you know, the one with the little voice, the sweet whipped cream voice. And they would always hire me to work her shows. And I worked with Georgia Southern and Lily St. Cyr. I mean, these were prime strippers. Rose LaRose.
Those LaRose, yeah. But they respected the strippers those days.
Oh, they were wonderful.
They did an act.
Those women were gorgeous.
Yeah, and they did an act. They didn't show everything. They just did an act.
Yeah. Listen. You see more in a movie today than they showed.
Yeah.
They didn't flash anything. They teased. They were strip teasers.
Teasers. That's what it was.
It was a whole different set of mores at that time.
But I'm getting back, Morgana. You walk out there. You entertain them one and one. That's your secret, though. You've been doing cabarets 40 years now.
Well, I'm a musical psychologist,
you're in a
you know that. I mean, I stroke everybody's head, you know, I'm Big Mama. I sing a ballad and everybody says, oh, God, I felt so good after you said, you know, sang that lyric, or A very dear friend of mine was going through an awful experience when her father passed on. So I said, I don't know what to tell you, but I'll give you something to listen to. And I hope and pray that this helps you. And it was a copy of my album, Everything Must Change.
Great.
Well, I got a call back, and she said, "Thank you, you saved my sanity."
Uh-huh.
She says, "I just listened to it."
Mhm.
And it stroked her back to sanity, you know.
Uh-huh.
Everything changes, and the lyric, you know,
Mhm.
dictated the message, and
Mhm.
I said, "Well, thank you. I feel that if one person was reached, it was worth doing the album, you know."
Uh-huh. But tell me something. You had a very tragic thing in your life. You know, you're a real
Quite a
survivor. You know,
few.
no, but you're a survivor, Morgana.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
you're a real survivor.
Absolutely. Well,
Would you explain? I mean, what really happened? You know, you had a very tragic thing in your life.
you mean with my husband?
Yeah. If you
Well,
Would
he was my producer, my mentor, my manager, my everything. My whole life, my whole career was
Uh-huh.
involved with my husband and my marriage. And we had just produced my first major hit album, A Taste of Honey.
That's it.
And my salary had gone in 1 week from $125 a week to I made about $25,000 the following week.
The following week.
Yeah. I did major TV shows
Uh-huh.
such as the Hollywood Palace, Andy Williams, Dean Martin, and I did a concert here at the Hollywood Bowl with the Smothers Brothers and a 21-piece orchestra. In 1 week, we came from New York.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And we were riding high. We were
Uh-huh.
doing very well. Then I went in and did another album, and it was another major album, and
Mhm.
he had an automobile accident in Central Park and
In Central Park.
and died instantly. And I
But you kept on working.
Well, I kept on working, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same attention that I needed as an
Uh-huh.
artist. You know, he used to be
took
very
care-
select about He sent me to Brazil
Mhm.
to woodshed, you know,
Yes.
to rehearse Corcovado.
Uh-huh.
He said, "I want you there. I want you to feel that vibration from those people." I was working. You know, he sent me on tour with Buddy Rich.
Mhm.
I was working, but I lived with those people, you see.
Uh-huh.
And I loved that language. When I heard, he says, "When you go to Brazil, Mo," he says, "you're going to love the experience."
Mhm. Mhm.
He was right. It
But
was
you're-
magnificent.
But you're Italian, aren't you? Sicilian.
I'm Sicilian.
Sicilian.
Well, my mother and father were born in Sicily.
Uh-huh.
I was born in New York.
I'm Italian, too. Half Italian.
Are you really?
Yeah, my father's Italian and my mother's Jewish. I'm a
Ah,
lipwop.
How nice. That's great.
Yeah. And,
Well,
but
we're all Jewish.
But
yeah.
I'm Sicilian. I'm part Sicilian.
Are you
Yeah.
really?
You're from New York originally?
Oh, right there, right in the heart of Manhattan. I was born in Pleasantville, New York State, but I was raised in Sugar Hill,
I see.
up, you know, Washington Heights.
Uh-huh.
You know where that is.
First job, Morgana. Do you remember your first job out there?
I sure do. The Greenwich Village Inn
That's it?
with Sally Rand.
Sally Rand. That was your first job?
Uh-huh. And Tony Bennett was there just prior to my performing with Bob
Mhm.
Hope, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Barry, he was
Mhm.
called at that time.
I see.
Yeah.
The Village has produced a lot of great
Oh,
singers
incredible.
and comics, too.
Mildred Bailey was down there. Lady Day was at Cafe
Uh-huh,
Society.
uh-huh.
I mean, wonderful,
Had a
wonderful.
lot of comics and singers out of that
Yeah,
village, the Village.
yeah.
Morgana, you did a wonderful thing I loved. It was your wonderful motion picture with Marlon Brando,
Yeah, Godfather.
Godfather.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about that.
It was just,
You know, I was just talking to Troy Donahue today.
oh, Troy,
And
we were
he-
on the film
yes,
together.
he told me. I said I was going to
Lovely
interview
man.
you. And he
Oh.
says, send Morgana. You're a
Oh.
special lady.
Oh, how dear.
told me
He
to
was a
tell you hello.
lovely man, lovely. My daughter's godfather played Solozzo in that movie, Al Lettieri.
Uh-huh.
And Al Lettieri and Al Ruddy knew that I was an actress.
Uh-huh.
And of course, with Sicilian background, they wanted me around. They
Uh-huh.
said, you know, I'm very, very Sicilian in my whole manner of
Uh-huh,
living. You know, I
uh-huh.
live very traditionally, as they say.
You're real Italian. You
I'm
think
real
that's,
Sicilian.
Is that you think Morgana
Yeah,
King?
real
Morgana,
Sicilian.
Morgana.
What,
Is that
darling?
what you're really, you know, as a singer? You know, Morgana King. You know, a Sicilian. That's what they say.
Well,
Is that too pronounced? Do you think? You think that's too pronounced?
no, I'm very proud of it.
You are.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes.
Mhm.
I
That's-
love the background. I love my heritage. I love
Because
everything
your
about my mother
family-
and father.
Yeah, your family found a town in Italy, didn't they?
I don't.
Something. didn't
Well, Catania is where they're from, and if you've ever been to
I've
Catania,
been
it's
to
as
Catania.
big
I
as
took
the
a boat.
studio.
Yes,
You
Catania.
know.
I've been to Catania. I took
Yeah,
a boat across.
Yeah.
That's
Well, my
where-
mother
matter
and
of fact-
father were both from Catania.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Sinatra's from there.
His father.
Father,
Yeah.
Sinatra.
His father's Catanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about Sinatra.
We're probably kissing cousins.
Yeah. Tell me about Frank Sinatra. You're very close with Frank.
Well, I just went to Palm Springs for his 70th birthday. They honored him at the Temple Isaiah, and they had an enormous celebration honoring Mr. Sinatra, and I was invited down. He called. His request was that I come down and sing, and I was there. I was working at Vine Street here, but I said,
Yeah, you work here a lot.
send the limo, I'll be there. I love him. I would, you know, I
What's
love.
his birthday? How old is he?
He was 70, December
70.
12th.
Good God,
Yeah,
him and
December.
Reagan. They're getting there.
Today's Reagan's
His
birthday, and
today.
he's 70
yeah,
what?
75.
Today's
75 years old.
He looks
yeah.
great.
I interviewed Rosemary DeCamp, and she did
Oh,
a movie
I love
with him.
her. I
Last
love
week I
her.
did her and Marcia Hunt.
Oh, and I
she-
love Marsha Hunt.
Yeah, they were wonderful. And,
Yes.
and she is 70, what was it, 72, David?
She said she's 6 months older than Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan?
Oh, well, that's.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That was a
wow.
wonderful show, matter of fact.
Marsha
Marcia
Hunt?
No,
Oh.
Rosemary
Oh,
DeCamp.
Rosemary. Oh,
Yeah.
she was wonderful. I love. Is she still working?
Oh, yeah, she just
She's
did...
wonderful.
She just did, I think, Love Boat, was it? Or something like that?
Oh, I just did Love American Style.
You did?
Yeah.
That's what I was
It
going
was
to ask
so
you.
much fun.
That's what I was going to
Oh,
ask.
it was great fun.
So you're really a busy lady. You're doing cabarets and...
Well, what I do is I try to do one job a month. Now, it sounds weird, you know, but I don't want to overtax myself at this age. I'm 56 now. I'll be 56. You're a Gemini, too,
I'm a
aren't you?
Gemini.
When's your
Trying to
birthday?
find my
June
age.
what?
huh,
No,
darling?
I don't want to know your age.
That's all right. I'm catching with
What
you.
day
I'm
are
with
you? I'm the 4th.
I'm June 6th.
Oh, I love it. My
Yeah.
best friend Sal is June 6th.
But I
also.
usually say I'm stop sign.
Well, you know something? I went to Jack Benny's 80th birthday at Mr. Sinatra's house. And I really was absolutely stunned and flabbergasted to see that this man looked 39. He did not look 80. Did you think Jack Benny looked 80?
No, no.
I think it's all in your mind.
Yeah, it is. That's
Like
that's...
you look great.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious. I
For
don't-
84.
Oh,
Morgana, tell me about Frank Sinatra. What kind of a guy is he, really?
he's very dear. I think he's one of the sweetest guys. And he's in such a very, very totally responsible position. Do you know what I mean by that? He's got such pressure all the time. I
You
would
knew his
think.
mother, didn't
Yeah, Dolly.
you?
Yeah.
She was a lovely lady. I met her once.
She was a strong lady.
Yeah, she
I'd
was.
love to play Dolly in that movie.
Would you?
The Frank. Oh yeah, I'd
You
love
would
to
be
play
wonderful.
Dolly.
You'd be wonderful.
Oh, I'd love. She
As
was
Frank
such a
Sinatra's mother.
strong woman. Strong.
When he lost her, that really hurt him, didn't it? He
I would
really-
imagine.
it
You know,
really-
when you
he-
have that kind of a force,
Uh-huh.
that's a big loss. I had the same kind of a mother.
You did?
My mother was very strong, and when my mother passed on, my whole family just split and disintegrated. I have a brother who's somewhere in South America right now. He's still looking for himself. I mean, everybody just fell apart. You know, every Sunday we'd have dinner with her. You know, it was that kind of. She was a total matriarch. But that's such a wonderful thing, you know.
Did you cook?
Oh, you
You
bet.
cook Italian food?
Oh,
The pasta and the sauce and
I
all the
cook
Italian?
so good it's disgusting.
Really?
Yeah, because you can't put the fork down.
You make it
Look at me.
Siciliano.
Do I look like I don't?
love that Sicilian sauce. My mother used to
Yeah.
make that.
Well, everything
my
made
father
in
taught her.
Sicily is so pure and natural.
Yeah.
I stayed with an aunt in Sicily. When my husband passed away, I really went on a total bummer. And I went to Sicily because I wanted to feel the family and, you know, my roots. And I stayed with an aunt who was 89.
80. huh?
Sia Francesca.
See.
89 years old. And her house was meticulously clean. I mean, you could eat off the floor. The sheets were blue-white. I mean, they were iridescent. And I'd say to her, how do you do this? No maid. I mean, there was no maid, you know. She'd say, oh, that's what makes me stay young. So in the morning, she'd come in, she'd say, what do you want for breakfast? I'd say, anything, Tia. She'd come in the backyard, pick your breakfast. I'd say, pick my breakfast? Yeah, come. There would be the chicken eggs. There'd be the figs, the persimmons. And the only thing that she would prepare were the biscotti.
See.
But it was so charming. And besides that, there was Mount Etna. staring right down the throat.
Tanya, see.
And she said, listen, when you live with this all your life, everything else is a lot of nonsense.
See. You know, Lana Turner used to go there a lot.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, that was her secret place.
Sicily?
Sicily. You didn't know that. She had a lovely place right outside of Palermo called Ischia.
Oh, Ischia. It's gorgeous. Ibiza?
No, Ischia.
Oh, Ischia, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lovely, lovely place. Anyway, tell me something. I want to know, Morgana King, you're going to New York City.
Yes.
You're opening where?
I'm opening at Fat Tuesdays. Yeah.
Where's that, Darren?
That's on 17th and 3rd down at Irving Place. It's a great, great little club.
Is
It's
it really?
been there for a long time. People like Stan Getz and Zoot Sims and, you know, all the names go down. Dizzy Gillespie. And I've been working there for a long time.
And you're there for how many weeks? Couple weeks?
Just, no, 5 nights.
5 nights, I see.
5 nights. And then I do an album the following week.
Tell me about your albums. They're very rare, you know.
Well, most of the albums that I did in the early 50s and 60s are gone. They're collector's
items. Yes, they're very, very rare.
Yeah. And so I'm doing albums now with Muse Records, and hoping, you know, that people still get a chance
Morgana, tell me about
to hear.
the young kids out there today.
Yeah.
You know, what's happening with our music world? Is it, you know, you're a cabaret performer. You're very different. You're special. Are there any special young people out there like you see?
Oh, I love Mike McDonald. Oh, God,
yes,
I love him.
Yes, he is. Michael McDonald, yes.
Oh, I love him. I've always loved Joni Mitchell. She's, you know, one of my favorites. Some of the younger, I can't think offhand.
What's happened to our cabarets?
These lights, really.
What's happening to our cabarets? I mean,
well, they're not the same. They're not the woodshedding rooms that they were years ago. You know, you had to work so many.
2, 3 shows a night.
Yeah,
some places. 3
6
shows.
I did, 6.
Some places, yeah.
We did 6 a night.
Yeah, I did too. But I'm saying 3 shows a night was general.
Well, the kids are now working
General.
TV. They do TV first.
They want to be stars. They all want to be stars.
Everybody
all of a
wants to
sudden.
be a star, I know, but the thing is, the wonderful part of the struggle of working clubs is you start to get, when you work to that live audience every night, you start to find different material. You don't, you do ballads, you do up-tempos, you do shuffle, you do rock and roll, you do blues. I mean, you have to, when you start really creating a following, you have to appease all their needs. That's a lot of music to cover. I'm going to really start teaching eventually.
You are?
Know, yeah. Oh,
you know, I'm going to introduce you to 2 very talented young people. They're in a show right now here at the Schubert Theater. It's in the 2nd year. Did you see Cats?
I'm going to.
Yeah, it's a
definitely.
wonderful
My
show. I
grandchild
did see it
wants
on
to
Broadway. I saw it with Betty Buckley on Broadway at the Winter Garden when it opened.
Oh, yes.
And I thought it was a great show. It is.
I lost my piano player to Cats. He went into Cats, and he's been there for 5 years.
Really? In New York?
He's sitting in the pits, Benny Aronoff.
Okay, well, let's meet these 2 wonderful young talent, Kathleen Lamb and Lance Roberts.
Yes.
2 wonderful dancers. How are you, Lance?
Hi.
Nice meeting you. This is Morgana King.
Hello,
Hi,
it's a
girl.
pleasure.
How are you? Let me help you with this. How have you been? Thank you for coming. Let's
Thank you.
My
Can you turn around
God,
this way?
you're one of the dancers. Which one are you?
I play Victoria, who is the white cat.
The White Cat. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the show's been, this is the 2nd year now?
We opened last January, January 11th.
And where are you from, Lance?
I'm from New York City.
You are?
Yes, I was getting excited.
We are from New York.
Yes.
You're from where, Arizona?
I'm from New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Oh, it's gorgeous,
It is
isn't
gorgeous, yes.
It's a nice place. We're
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Tell me about Cats here in Los Angeles. I want to know what's happening at the Schubert Theater.
What's
I mean,
happening?
2 years you've been there almost.
That's right.
I mean, tell us about that.
We're having a great time. Well,
What are you? What cat are you playing, Lance?
well, I stand by for old Deuteronomy. So when you say a couple of dancers, you'll see Deuteronomy. He only waves his arms. That's the most I get to dance. You know, I do a
see.
little in the opening, but not much. And he's the talking about your matriarchs. He's the king of the cats of the Jellicle tribe.
Tell us a story about cats. What is a story about cats? Good.
Oh.
What? You want to?
Yeah, it was. It's basically
A book.
It's a book. It's
Yeah.
based on Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by
Right.
T.S. Eliot, and it's just a bunch of poems that were put together, and the storyline is kind of weaved through that. It's these cats meet once a year and they have their Jellicle ball and this big celebration and everything. At which time, Old Deuteronomy picks one of the older cats to go to the heavy side layer and come back in another one of the 9 lives that cats have.
I see.
That's-
But it's a fun
basically.
show. You're having a good time there. Huh?
It is. It's a hard show, but it's lots of work.
Is this your
Lots of
first
work.
show?
This is my
on-
first major
Major?
production like this.
And
yes.
how about you, Lance?
Me?
Yes. Tell us what
Someone
you've done.
counted, I think it's like 25.
You've done, what things have you done? Could you tell
Well,
us? Is
here
it-
in Los Angeles, I did Get Happy with Donna McKechnie and,
She's
and
wonderful.
Pamela Myers
Uh-huh.
from Company.
Yes.
So, and we did the music of Harold Arlen. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, Stormy Weather, Can't Help Loving That Man.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, not Can't
We
Help
had Donna
Loving That Man.
McCutney here a couple weeks ago, didn't we, kids?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, she was here.
Yeah,
she was
'cause
working.
she's out doing Chorus Line, and she opened up the Cinegrill.
That's when we had her here.
Hollywood
Yeah.
Roosevelt here in
Right.
town.
Did you
yeah.
see her?
Yes, I did.
She's
of
wonderful,
course.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so that was great. Stan Freeman, the jazz pianist. I mean, he was in the show as well, and they're playing our song here with Joanne Worley, and I came here to do a pre-Broadway show that didn't make it, called Walls. It was about 6 people
remember it.
in therapy. Okay, well,
Oh,
it was a musical.
I remember that, yes.
But it didn't go very far.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I've been here for 3 years, you know, enjoying LA's revitalized theater scene. I mean,
Theater is happening
Yeah,
here in
I mean,
LA now.
people-
It is.
That's
Don't you
great,
think
yeah.
so?
it's very
There's
surprising.
that.
You know, someone
There's a
says,
lot
"Are
going
you
on.
going to stay in New York? I mean, stay in Los Angeles?
Uh-huh.
Have to be in New York working on theater?" And I said, "Why leave? There's tons of theater here."
Yeah, it's true.
You know, it works a little different, you know,
True.
with the equity waiver scene, you know, working
Yes.
up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
you
was
know.
offered something the other night with that equity waiver.
You do theater,
Oh, I love theater.
you do?
God, it's great.
It's
Isn't
great,
it wonderful? It's the
yeah.
best.
Do you sing? Do you sing? Do you both sing and dance?
Oh,
You
yeah.
both sing.
Yes.
You both sing and dance. I see. And you studied in New Mexico? Did you?
In
or-
New Mexico, and then I went to the North Carolina School of the Arts. I went out there to school, and then I went to school in Utah also and studied there, and then just kind of performed here and there and everywhere.
See what's happening. The kids study today. We didn't study. We went out there and worked in cabarets and
experienced
theater. We
it, yeah.
experienced it.
Yeah.
But you kids prepare yourselves for the theater. That's a good thing too, isn't
You
it?
need
Jeff?
both.
You need both.
You
Yeah.
need both.
You need both. Yeah. Do you feel the smaller theater is good experience like the cabarets are days? That's great.
I think working is the most important
Regardless
thing.
of in a
As
barn.
much as you
Just
can.
keep
Regardless.
working.
Yeah.
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 And you know, there's no end to wanting to make it. You know what I mean? Like I've worked with Brando, and I've worked with Mr. Sinatra, and I've worked with some marvelous people. And there's no end to the next job and the next. You know, nothing is the ultimate.
Right.
They are the ultimate performers.
True, true.
But there's another thing that's
Yeah.
better coming. You know
It's
what I'm trying
always
to say?
coming, yeah.
There's always something
Yeah,
else
like
to look
Lance,
forward to.
Lance Roberts, tell me something. You're a good look. Are you into acting for television? Are
Oh,
you gonna,
yes, yes, yes.
You have an agent who's doing that for you?
Oh, yes, I have all the agents and all of that, you know.
You're a good type. You should be doing a lot of commercials
From
and
your
film.
mouth to God's ear.
You're both keeping busy at the theater. How many shows a day do you do?
We have one show a day, Tuesday through Friday, then we have 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday.
How many
we have
hours
5
does
show
it
weekend.
take to get all that makeup on?
It at first took a lot longer than now. I've gotten mine down to
To
about,
science.
to get the makeup and the wig and the costume, everything about 45 minutes.
45, really?
Great.
Which
That's wonderful.
You too, huh?
Well,
It takes longer?
See, I'm the standby.
he doesn't do it all the time.
And I don't do it all the time, but in the last month I've been on every night. But before that, what did it happen? I think it was Christmas or New Year's, one of the holidays. I was getting dressed to go out, and I had to go on the second act. So I've gotten my wig, my makeup, and my costume on in the matter of an intermission. So I can now do it in 15 minutes.
You know, it opened in
Very lax.
1982 in New York.
In New York,
Yes,
yeah.
in the Winter Garden. Did you see it? Did you see it in New
Oh,
York when it
yes,
opened?
yes.
And it won the Tony too, didn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of awards.
So
How many
very,
awards?
very big.
Seven?
show.
What are some of the awards? I know
Well,
they won
best
the
musical, of
Best musical
course.
for the, I think for your record, for the recording, isn't it? One of the your.
Well, they won. I think they won the Grammy as well.
Grammys.
But these
They
are just
did.
the Tonys.
Yeah.
The best musical,
Uh-huh.
best direction. I think Betty Buckley won an acting award.
She did, yes.
And of course the lighting and the set. I mean, the set
costume.
does everything. This
That's
is
the
the
main thing.
Star Wars musical.
They,
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we have things lifting off and.
yeah, they had to redo the
Flying.
theater at the Winter Gardens.
Oh,
Didn't they knock the
even
ceiling,
here
I think?
in Los Angeles.
Did they
they've
redid they
gutted
shirt
out
it?
the Schubert.
Yeah, they got
People
it
don't
right.
recognize the Schubert when they walk in there.
I haven't
That's
seen the.
great.
I haven't
People
seen-
don't
isn't
recognize
that?
it.
Really? They redid.
You walk in there, all of a sudden, the 1,800-seat Schubert looks like a nice, small, intimate theater, and you're brought into this world of cats immediately. People, they're, you know, they think, oh, I don't want to go sit. I don't want to see it unless I'm in the front row. Now when they're there, they're like, oh my God, you know, because it's so much. It's
How
so
many
much.
cats are there in the?
There's 22 on stage, and then there's 4 in the booth, 4 singers who sing on
Right.
stage with us. And then I think there's 9 or 10 understudies
Yeah.
that sit. And I've had my understudies had to go on over the course of, like, if
I see.
I've had lots of injuries with the show, and so 3 or 4 times I've had an understudy that had to jump into the white costume
Oh,
and
my
run on stage, like
Really?
just
That's-
through
Well,
a
it's hard
number.
because
it's
of
very
there's
strenuous,
the
sure.
rake stage. I mean, the dancers are jumping and they're turning. I mean, with on the rake stage, try walking on a rake stage. You know, the audience gets to come up during intermission, and as Deuteronomy, I sit on stage, and they come up there, and I hear a lot of the comments. You know, they say, "Oh my God, I can't walk," and it's like I sort of like snicker or imagine these dancers trying to dance on
Right.
you know, but so the dancers have a lot of injuries just because of just
I see.
dealing with the rake stage.
But the audience is having fun, aren't they?
Oh, they love it.
They love
They-
that.
they do.
yeah.
They really get into it.
Yeah,
It's
they
really
do.
interesting
Yeah.
how when they come up there, one lady, she came up to me crying and she says, oh, thank you so much, Deuteronomy, for letting me be part of the magic. You know, and it's like,
Sweet.
I was really touched, you know, because I thought, Jesus, there are probably people out there,
Yeah.
you know, really being touched by this show. It's special.
Tell me something. Have you ever done a cabaret act?
I've done promotional type things, and I've sung in a couple of nightclubs and
You have?
things. Just
Like
not,
showcases and stuff
yeah,
like that?
not anything major, not anything
Yes,
big.
What do you think of the
Production-wise.
cabaret? You like the closeness?
I think it's fun. I think it's great.
How about you,
yeah.
Lance? Do you
I
like
love
that?
Yeah, well, in New
one-on-one
York,
with you.
right
Yeah.
before, now, in New York, the cabarets are getting a little bit more popular with, like, Terry Klausner from Broadway and Hinton Battle coming down, like, there was Les Mouches, and there's Freddy's, and
Yes, yes,
those
yes.
clubs are happening now.
They've
Well,
been for a while.
yeah,
They
but
have.
there was
I
like,
opened Le Mouche.
yeah, I love that, but
Yeah.
now it's closed now.
I heard,
think.
yeah.
But what happened was, like, in 77, 78, I was 17 and 18 years old, I played the Copacabana.
Right.
I mean, because
Yes.
there weren't any big names there, so
Exactly.
they took anybody who would want to do a
Right.
show. So I did a show, and I enjoyed doing that a lot, except for I saw Lena Horne, and I saw a one-woman show, and what was so exciting about it was that this one woman, it was like a full musical to me, because there was a story. There was so much. I was listening to you. You were talking about all these things. I said, oh, my God, this woman, hope there's a book.
Yes, tell us, Morgana, tell us.
No, I wouldn't.
Tell me,
I
is there
don't-
going to be
not
a
while
book?
I'm living would I write a book.
You wouldn't? Why
That's
not?
my daughter's heritage. Whatever I leave of my life is my daughter's,
I see.
and she can write the book about me.
Morgana, tell me something. Have you enjoyed your life?
Oh, I've had a wonderful time.
You have?
I have a gorgeous grandson, a wonderful daughter. I had 2 marvelous husbands, great mother and father, great brothers and sisters, you know.
And you live in Laguna or Malibu?
No, I live out in Malibu, but
You
I'm
do?
going back home, going back to New York.
You are going.
Yes, I just sold one house in Sherman Oaks.
You
and
mean you're
now-
going to move back to New York?
Yes, I'm going back home. I want to be
Home.
with my family, you know.
Yeah.
I love it here, but I've been alone here with
Yes,
just
it's
my child.
It
and
is
and her
lonely
child.
here. It
It's-
really is. You get
well,
lost
it's
here.
it's too spread out for friends. You know, I
Yes.
talk on the phone to my friends and I adore them, but I'd rather call them long distance
Yes.
from New York and know that my sister's living down the block.
I see.
I'm one of those neighborhood girls. I like to get out and
Yeah.
you know, put my flats on, go walking, window shopping, take the baby with me, and have a great time with. I love watching people too.
Yes, 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 yes.
I love
do
to
too.
walk down the street. and
People
look
don't
at
walk here.
people.
They just
Where
don't walk.
are you going to
No.
walk here?
But I'm going to walk over to Cats and see Schubert. I'm coming to Schubert Theater and see you 2 wonderful people. And I hear that you...
Hey,
well, I
visit
will.
him.
Maybe I
Skippy,
will.
let's go together because I want
Well,
to take Morgan.
Would you? Well,
Of
well
course.
yeah, let's go. We'll get tickets. I need to get us tickets and we'll go. Okay?